workshop number 7, what's next with LGBTQ travel. Let's see, there we go. My name is Dan Rios, Director of LGBTQ Marketing for the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. To get us started, just a couple of housekeeping items. This Zoom meeting is being recorded and you'll receive a copy of the recording. And you'll also be receiving a survey, so don't be shy. Please tell us how we did. Now, I am happy to share a video from our amazing sponsor, Associated Printing Productions. It is the introduction of products like this that are not only timely, but very relevant as we work toward mitigating the impact of the pandemic.
Dan, I think that the little box wasn't checked. Do you want to run it again when you do the screen share? Because the sound's not coming through.
You can't hear the sound?
Hold, yeah, please hold. Yeah, just stop sharing and click that little button again and we can start it.
Okay.
Once you do it a few times, it's like a natural habit.
Yeah, they're there.
And you start over. Yeah, we missed the first part. So you can see it.
Good?
Yeah.
Great. So we will also share a file with information about APPI's antimicrobial protection, as well as our contact information in the chat. And you'll be hearing from our sponsor toward the end of the workshop. Now for a quick glance at today's program, after a short overview on GMCVB's LGBTQ Marketing Division, we'll welcome our first guest from Expedia Group to talk about what they're doing to address the LGBTQ travel segment. We will then welcome our panel to discuss what's next with LGBTQ travel. And finally, we will hear from our sponsor, followed by a Q&A. So please write any questions in the chat. We'll be collecting them to get them answered in the end. So a little bit about GMCV's LGBTQ Marketing Division. We exist to promote Miami as a premier destination for LGBTQ visitors. And while I am a division of one, I do have the full support of all of the divisions of the CBB, whether it's working with multicultural tourism and development to promote events like Gay Ocho, Celebrate Orgullo, and Sweet Heat, working with advertising and digital marketing, planning and rolling out our LGBTQ advertising initiatives, and working with communications to either pitch ideas to media outlets or plan an itinerary for an LGBTQ press trip or influencer. All in all, this division of one comes fully supported with all the resources offered by the GMCBB. So before we welcome Zach Leonardi, we did want to run our first poll. Ali? Okay, as we gather those answers, thank you so much for participating. Now it gives me great pleasure to welcome Zach Leonardi, Senior Growth Marketing Manager with Expedia Group. Zach?
Hey, how's it going, Dan? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. How are things going?
They're good.
Good.
Let's
Good.
see. Oh, the results are in.
Yeah. So 1996, that was the big answer. What do you have to say about that?
Well, so this is one of my favorite facts about Expedia Group. Orbitz is not new to the LGBT travel game. So good guessing, everyone. Actually 2001. So we're not quite as progressive as a country, than we would have thought. But 2001 is when Orbitz launched the first explicitly gay TV ad in history, which is cool because that's not a topic that was very popular at the time. And the fact that we took it and put it in all of America's living rooms is something that I find really impressive and very proud.
Absolutely, and that's a great thing for our industry. We appreciate you doing that. So thank you for joining us all the way from Seattle. That's one of the advantages that we have from virtual, meetings. But as we have everyone gather here, I wanted to ask, tell us why is inclusivity important to travel, and why does Expedia Group choose to focus on diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, good question. So much like the poll that we just answered, inclusion and diversity in gay travel is really part of our DNA as a travel company for a few different reasons. A couple of which I'm sure you all can guess, but the first is that there is inherent benefits to inclusion and diversity in gay travel. For example, like people, when they bring ideas to a table, when they feel represented and heard both internally inside the organizations or externally as consumers, as travelers, it creates a more productive and more efficient environment. So internally inside the company, we have an inclusion and diversity team. We have people who dedicate their entire life to making sure that our business practices are aligned to issues of diversity and making sure that we're bringing those conversations in to our business practices. So that's really important. This transfers externally as well. So Expedia has been pretty vocal in terms of diversity, inclusion, and gay travel. We believe that companies like all of us on this call have the expectation, but also the opportunity to use our voice for good. There's lots of hatred in the world. There's lots of controversial pieces of policy and sentiments. And Expedia has been on the forefront of really paving the way for a lot of that movement. So whether it's, litigating travel bans, whether it's supporting, gay marriage internationally, taking political stands is both a way to influence our profitability, because we know that that's a good behavior to have. But it also gives us the opportunity to really shape the future of travel and to, help evolve sentiments around these topics around the world.
Absolutely. And I see, a lot of your team members here. So it seems like it's been many years of, at least in the ERG of, LGBTQ employees. I'm assuming that is behind this as well.
Yeah,
so
we have a really active LGBT chapter. I think we're in 10 different countries and 15 or 20 different chapters themselves. So the conversation is never far from the boardroom.
And what do we know about LGBTQ travelers, and have you learned anything new recently?
That's a good question. A lot of the people you'll hear from on this panel have done some extensive research around the LGBT travel segment. We are, resting on the shoulders of giants. Lots of incredible analysis has gone into this segment, and those data points continue to stand. So we know, especially through the lens of COVID, that LGBT travelers are brave. They are pretty familiar with traveling in high-risk scenarios. It's inherently more dangerous to travel abroad. But there's also components of, double income, no kids. They have higher cash flow. They take more vacations. They are, they're just generally more social beings. And every single one of those things makes them a prime audience for a COVID recovery strategy. So all of that historical knowledge is really relevant today for both a short-term recovery program, but also I'm hoping that this instills this audience as a key business strategy, that there's value and there's importance in continuing to market to gay travel, long after. And Miami is no stranger to this concept, but some markets are, and I'm confident it's going to catch on because we're going to see some good numbers.
Absolutely.
And there's, go ahead.
No, after you.
Yeah, and there's also another component to research we're doing inside Expedia Group, and it's around generational changes. So Generation Z and Millennials, they're a new traveler demographic coming online. They're earning their first paychecks. I'm one of them, and me and all my friends, we value issues of social justice and diversity. And what we're finding as a company is that the gay travel segment is extending beyond just folks who identify as LGBTQ. These millennial and Generation Z cohorts, they care so much about these topics that they're searching it out in their employers, they're searching it out in the products they buy. So a lot of this marketing is going to have a halo effect where they will spend 5 to 20% more on a product if they know it's influencing a cause or a behavior that they support, one of which is gay travel. So I think there'll be some interesting changes in the market and how we market when, we're addressing people who may not identify as gay, but they really believe in the power of that marketing.
Absolutely, yeah, and we see that also in marketing to the LGBTQ community. Well, when you are actually speaking to, let's say, the trans community, it speaks and resonates with the gay community or lesbian community because it presents a destination or a company as very inclusive, and I think that lures them in itself, even though it's not speaking directly to them.
Exactly.
So what is Expedia doing? We've seen what you've done in the past, and what are the plans for the future to address this LGBTQ travel segment?
So one of the reasons I'm here is because I'm helping lead the hotel inventory side of our new launch. So Orbitz, much like the poll question and today, is and kind of will continue to once again be the destination for LGBT travel. So we're going to reposition that brand and launch it like it's never been launched before, so that travelers have a space for themselves where they can see marketing of people like them, using language like they use, places they want to go. And it's going to become a full-blown destination for this audience to begin researching and booking and planning. What's really exciting, and especially for the hoteliers on this call, is that we're going to be creating inventory that is filterable on these sites and landing pages and points of sale. So you can take a pledge of inclusion, which is kind of a generic statement of kind of obligations and responsibilities and protocols that every hotel will agree to, that says that you will create the same experience for any traveler, regardless of who they're traveling with or what they look like or the pronouns they use. You'll enforce it, a zero tolerance policy. And then you'll get marketing. We're going to be driving ad dollars. We're going to be creating specific, campaigns and landing pages for your property to be highlighted, which is an awesome recovery strategy, but also just a very good thing to do for this community in general. So for those hoteliers who are partners with Expedia Group, you can find the LGBTQ welcoming flag as an amenity inside Partner Central. So if you, go in and tick that box, you'll receive the benefits of being an inclusive property. We'll continue to foster all of our existing relationships, like with the IGLTA. Our membership and promoting their inventory as well is an awesome set of hotels that we'll continue to focus on. And Expedia Group is, we're not shying away from any fights. It's a turbulent time for human rights in the world and in the US. And I think that we'll continue to see the company taking pretty bold stances, especially around the issues of diversity and gay travel. So stay tuned. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. And I'm thankful as a community member and from our travel industry for your efforts and Expedia's efforts on this front. So thank you, Zach, and we'll see you again during our Q&A.
Thanks.
So before we welcome our panel, let's run our second poll.
Good question.
So we'll see what those results come in. So, but I'm very happy to welcome our panel. First, let's see. Oh, really? Okay. Very interesting indeed. So if I could welcome our panel, first of all, Steve Atkins.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dan and the CVB, thank you for putting this together and for including the chamber.
Being here, Steve. Grace Lopez.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm with the Aqua Foundation. This is an incredible opportunity to be here with all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. John Tanzella.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dan, for including IGLTA. We have a great relationship with the city of Miami and with these other organizations on the panel as well. So it's a real honor to be here. Thank you.
Happy you're here. Thank you for being here. Janae Tate.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me and allowing Sweet Heat to be a part of this conversation.
Thank you for being here, Janae. And Rich Walzak.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Miami Beach Pride is definitely excited to be here.
So welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So we have, I have a lot of questions laid out for you. So let's get right to it. So let's talk about the impact of COVID-19, the pandemic, and please share with us the toughest challenge your organization is working to overcome. So let's start with Steve on this one.
It's been an interesting time, and certainly none of us could have predicted this happening when we were planning last year for 2020. But I think the Chamber has done a pretty good job of pivoting its programming to address the needs of its membership. But in general, we have over 100 membership categories, industry categories, and it's been difficult trying to take all of our programming and meet the needs of each one of those categories in a very general virtual world. But I think if I were to pinpoint the most difficult challenge that we've had to address, and that would be that probably more than 35% of our membership, which is resident in the hospitality industry, is either not at work, transitioning, trying to figure out the marketplace and the environment that they're going to be doing business in, and having us try to address that much of our membership in terms of programming and trying to connect. So I guess that's probably the most difficult challenge, is to have that much of your membership absent from your programming and trying to feel this COVID crisis through and address their needs.
Yeah, so we almost have to, in a way, guess what's happening because there's a big void there. So,
guess and hope.
Yeah. And how about you, Grace?
Well, like every nonprofit and for-profit business, it's been a hard hit. It really has. The unexpected has happened, and for us, for the Aqua Foundation, our biggest challenge has been not being able to put on our signature event, Aqua Girl, which everybody knows about, which we put in Miami Beach. It's one of our signature events, but it also produces a lot of our donations and funding. And we were not able to do that this year. So being, staying creative, trying to mimic those larger organizations and what they're doing, shifting our, what we are doing, our programming to virtual has been an incredible challenge. Because we don't have an IT team, a group of resources that can make it happen so quickly. So we're trying to figure it out, but nevertheless, we are strong. We have no debt, and we're trying to make it like everybody else. But definitely, our fundraising has been the biggest challenge.
Yeah, how that can happen. How about you, John?
I would probably be quite aligned with everything that they both just said. Because we're both a nonprofit globally, and pretty much every country in the world has been affected by COVID. So tourism businesses that are our membership certainly are in difficult situations to continue their membership. But probably the largest challenge for us to overcome has been our convention, which is our largest fundraiser of the year, which was supposed to be in Milan, Italy in May. And of course, as we all know, Milan was the epicenter for Europe for COVID. So we obviously had to delay that, and it's been delayed a couple of times, and now it's 2022 that we'll go back to Milan. But that's a big hit for us, and it's a way for our members to come together and do business, buyers and suppliers and media. So it's challenging on so many levels, but from a staff perspective, we have a small and super amazing team at IGLTA. Dan, all of our team. So we've been, like Steve said, we've been pivoting weekly into what we can do to get the messaging out from our members on, destinations that are, they'll be there when this passes, and getting inspirational messaging out and helping them, as much as we can at this point.
And you really have done a great job, bringing people together under the circumstances. I really do value the connections that you offer virtual, as well as Steve and the chamber has been really important during this time. So thank you both on that.
Thank you.
And Janae, what can you tell us about your challenges?
With Sweet Heat Miami, I can say one of our main challenges has been the unknown. Knowing when if we'll have a festival this year, if we're just going to postpone to next year. Our founder, DJ Dimples, she's still right now in limbo, and she's not sure if we're going to continue with the festival in October, what that will look like, would it be limited, or if we're just going to cancel for this year and just try again for next year. So that's been the greatest challenge, just not knowing what you can and can't do.
Absolutely, and actually these things change almost daily, so it really has been very difficult to sort of gauge that. And Rich, tell us about the challenges with Miami Beach Pride.
Well, having to shut down Pride so close to the actual event really hurt. It was a very emotional decision for the team, being the first time we've ever had to do something like this. It was a hard hit when it came to sponsors, supporters, the community. A lot of the community look at Pride as to one of the events they can actually come out and be themselves throughout the year. So it's been turbulent kind of to navigate into that virtual space while still giving those people that sense of community. But I agree with Janae, the unknown of whether or not we can happen this year and even next year at this point. We're the unsure. We're festivals. We're going to be one of the last things that get the approval to reopen. So to be able to continue and still offer that sense of community to everyone here has been definitely a turbulent ride.
Absolutely, totally understandable. So yeah, this has been the challenges. So let's take a look at it and approach it from the opposite side. The pandemic has forced us to think outside the box and to be creative. So talk to us about a surprising outcome that you've discovered that could be a benefit in the future. And let's stay with you, Rich.
I think at this time it's given us a real unique opportunity to really focus on restructuring our programming as we move into more of year-round programming, more virtual events. We've come to the conclusion that even if Pride happens this year, we still want to incorporate that virtual experience, We want to be able to live stream our events, live stream the festival itself, and give that sense of community more widespread nationwide or even globally.
Absolutely. It does give the opportunity virtually to actually have a global audience. So
Right.
that sense is very good. And how about you, Janae?
I think a surprise that came from, you know, the pandemic is the connection in the community that we were able to foster online. You saw with like DJ D Nice, who went viral on Instagram. We were able to also tap into that energy as well. A lot of our featured DJs, we were able to do many parties with them, and our followers enjoyed that. We also were able to do We Miss Sweet Heat type of campaigns and put that up on social media. So it was really interesting to see how everybody still was willing to come together virtually to still have that connection to Sweet Heat, even though we couldn't be together for the physical event.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and social media was already important before this. And I think that with the isolation that we felt now, it really has been a means to bring everyone together. So John, tell us about some surprises that you've experienced.
Well, like everyone, we've definitely pivoted and changed a lot of things that we're doing to deal with COVID. But one thing that has been really positive is being able to connect with our members that we're doing online. And you're typically on our calls on Thursdays, where we have people from time zones all over the world and have a different speaker about, it could be an LGBT event or a destination. Tomorrow we have Google talking about what they're seeing on travel trends, searches on google.com. So I think beyond COVID, we'll continue to do these online connections to get our members together, both buyers, suppliers, and media, coming together and doing business and learning and networking virtually. And it really opens up a door, you know, for our convention, because our convention is always in person, of course, and it will continue to be next year in Atlanta. I mean, this really opens up the idea that, you know, yeah, we'll have 700 people or so there, but there's also thousands of people that can't make it from different continents, that we can do some sessions online to open it up to everyone. And then we've been working, obviously, with a lot of Pride events and LGBT events that are doing online versus in person, trying to help promote them, to get them donations. So it's been a change, but you know, that's one positive, and I think this will continue beyond COVID.
Yeah, I see that, you know, when we would arrive at your convention, for instance, you know, it was a means to connect with people, but now as you nurture through the months, a familiarity, and, you know, you can actually begin and really nurture those collaborations and actually possibly get a lot more business done. So I think that's great. And Grace, tell us about your surprises.
So something very positive that I'm very proud of is what I have behind me here. It's called a new initiative called Aqua Cares. We just launched that in July. And we felt that it was very necessary for our community to stay in touch visibly as a community, but more importantly, to help those organizations and people that didn't have other opportunities to feature their businesses. We have what's called Aqua Cares businesses. Today we featured a business at 12 o'clock to 12:15. It's a 15-minute segment. We have also artistic talent, where we are offering the talent in Miami and South Florida and nationally to come forward and, you know, showcase what they have to do, what they have, what they can offer to our community, and also presenting topics of wellness, because during a time like this, people need so much balance and wellness throughout the community. So we're trying to find ways that we can virtually connect with our community, but also know that we're there for them. We truly care, we're here for them. And we've never posted in social media as often as we're doing right now, because it's a form of connection. It's a form, this is the way to go. A lot of people are doing it. And we don't want our community to think that we are invisible to them. We definitely want to be impactful and visible. And I think that Aqua Cares has provided that opportunity for us. So we're very proud of that.
Very good. And Steve, let's talk about your surprises.
You know, I think when these kinds of challenges occur, people are allowed to really see who is helping, who's adding value, who are the drivers of economic opportunity out there in the marketplace. And chambers have always been in those categories. You know, we represent small business, and what going through this process has allowed us to do is really focus our attention from a programming perspective on where the needs of our membership reside. And we found our educational programming is dramatically in order to address those needs. Always to do more, always found the challenge of having to do a lot of remote programming, and we do a lot of remote programming. It takes a lot of time to put together, and being able to pivot into a virtual world, even still doing probably 20, 25 events sometimes a month on a virtual basis, we're to do more on the occasion and our members run their business more effectively and opportunities as they become available. So I think it's just made us more efficient. And I think everybody on this call is probably going to agree that comes with some cost. I think none of us are working less. We're all working a lot more than we've ever worked in our lives as a result of this transition. But yeah, I think that is the silver lining. It's allowed us to focus and become a lot more efficient in what we do.
Absolutely, and also expanding what we did do, you know, the scope of our work, we've actually had to, you know, expand that and diversify and find other means of accomplishing our goals. So, but same with you, Steve. As you know, COVID-19 sweeps the world. The LGBTQ community has been faced with unique challenges. How have you seen this manifested in Miami's small business community?
Yeah, I think we've of pivoting, and as I reasonably well through this crisis. Miami Central, I think if you talk to the Small Business Administration, there are more small businesses per capita in the greater Miami area than anywhere else in the United States. We are not a large, as a result of that,
Steve, I think we're losing sound there, so maybe we should come back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. Okay, one of the downsides of Zoom is connectivity issues.
Here.
Anyway, so going back to this, so this is a small business town, and as a result of that, there's a lot of fear, given some of the statistics that we're hearing, that this crisis and the prolonged effect that we're having as a result of not being able to get our arms around the pandemic is going to reshape the small business landscape of greater Miami. There are forecasts out there that we may lose 30% or more of our small businesses in the greater Miami area by the end of 2021. And the concern that I have is that as a tourism-driven town, as a area that relies on our winter business, which is right around the corner, if we don't get our arms around this and overcome this pandemic quickly, it is going to really negatively affect our winter and spring season, which we rely on to carry us through the summer and the fall. So I think from my perspective, and certainly from my brethren in the other chambers, we're not seeing the downside yet. We are quite concerned about 2021, that if we don't get back to business as usual fairly soon, and I'm talking in the next 2 or 3 months, we're going to be in for it in 2021. And so, you know, that's the downside. The upside, we hope, is that the government, and that's all aspects from the local to the federal level, see this as the driver of economic value that it is, or of negative economic crises, that they're going to continue to come out with programs that are going to assist our small businesses. The PPP program was really effective. It helped a lot of organizations make it through when they may have folded. It's also helped a lot of people retain their jobs because it was definitely a payroll driver. I'm surprised that more people aren't taking advantage of the Economic Disaster Assistance Program, but that is still available through the SBA. But I am very concerned that if the federal supports go away, we're in for some real trouble.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we definitely see that challenge or that threat here at the CVB, and we are developing initiatives to support small business, whether it's the restaurants. We really are always trying to highlight them, whether they're closed right now but doing delivery. So I hear what you're saying there. So some of these unique challenges, John, how have you seen them manifested in the travel industry?
Well, it's very similar to what Steve was saying. A large portion of our membership around the globe are also small businesses. And so it's everywhere, but, our main driver of what we do is promoting a destination and all of its attributes, whether it's LGBT events, hotels, tours, whatever, dining. So, with LGBT events being canceled, small tour operator members of ours, mom and mom, pop and pop, not being able to take their clients overseas, at the hotels being filled, the airlines, are drastically struggling, it all affects the destination. So, in your case in Miami specifically, you also have the cruise line industry that's so desperately affected, and it certainly affects the economy locally here in South Florida. So it's all it's a big challenge. But even if you're a big business, if you're a Marriott, they're struggling as well because their rooms are not filling up. So it's a challenge everywhere. It's really hard though for small businesses. I feel us included, because we don't have the the deep pocket reserves that the big global corporations would have. But it's definitely challenging, and I wholeheartedly agree with Steve that if there's not a national plan in place, this is just going to keep going on and on and on, because no matter what a state does or a city does, if not everybody's playing by the same playbook, then it just keeps manifesting. And we're seeing that starting up again in Europe. They're starting to get spikes in cases as well. Nothing like we have, but still.
That's why it's very important to do whatever we can on a personal level to support small business. So for everyone on the call, support small business.
Yes,
absolutely. So Grace, talk about Aqua Foundation for Women. You exist to serve the lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community through grants, scholarships, and initiatives. Please tell us about the impacts felt by this segment of our community.
Well, luckily, we budgeted our scholarships last year. So we had that money and reserved, and we're getting ready to announce scholarships that we are awarding. So that wasn't affected as much, but now we have to rethink for 2021, as many of you have stated, right? So it has affected us in the sense that we had small grants and we had some help, but with the repurposing and because of the pandemic and the organization saying, we're going to give you the money now, but we're not limiting how you spend it, but we have to cut it in half because we can't give you as much money as we were able to give you on a contract. We're now giving you less because we have to give so many other people. So that has been a tremendous challenge for us. But I think that we're learning ways that we cannot sit still. We have to be incredibly aggressive as a nonprofit, as a business, as a small business. And we have to be out there and reinvent ourselves. Think of strategies outside the box that are not your traditional grant requests, and also be more visible and remind people. I find that we have to remind people. Aqua Foundation has been in existence for 16 years and 20 years with Aqua Girl. And I find myself that I have to remind others what we're doing. People sometimes stop me and say, hey, yeah, I've heard of Aqua, but what is it that you guys really do? Grants, scholarships? I don't know. So we find ourselves that let's re-educate the community. Let's reconnect, let's re-engage, and let's be mindful that not everybody's expected to know what we do. So we're trying to do the best that we can. We're coming from strength. We absolutely are coming from a strength. We have an incredible board, and I think that makes a huge difference. And we're trying to figure it out like everybody else is, but it's been difficult, really, really difficult, Dan.
Well, I do appreciate what you've done with Facebook Live and actually being able to get the message out that way, because that's a completely new initiative, and that certainly helps in making people aware of what it is that you do, because you are known quite specifically for Aqua Girl. I think that really is what people associate Aqua Foundation with. So, okay, Janae, you have had to reschedule events and are likely considering modifications to the events themselves. Have your partners, your vendors, your suppliers been amenable to these changes?
Yes, they have. They've been really cool, and all of them said, like, whenever we come back, they want to come back to the festival, and they're so happy, and they've been so supportive and so easy to work with. For as far as Sweet Heat though, we didn't have a lot of partners. DJ Dimples, who is the founder, she's so dope and amazing. She's been doing this event pretty much by herself with like a small team, with no major corporate partners, no major sponsorships, but she's been able to bring in over 10,000 women across the country and even abroad to Miami. So I think that's a testament to like her strength and how dope of a woman she is. And this year, Dan, that's how we connected. And even Rich and I, we connected as well with Miami Pride. And this year we were on course to build those stronger partnerships. And that's part of the reason why I was the team. And Grace, I was so happy to hear like what you do with Aqua, because I hope that in the future that Sweet Heat can get some of that grant funding for events, because that would be really amazing just to add to what DJ Dimples has already built.
Absolutely excellent. Yeah. So I'm glad you had connected with Rich. And actually, Rich, South Florida Pride Collective is a collaboration of South Florida's largest pride organizations, including Miami Beach Pride. Tell us what were the advantages of collaborating, and has this opened the door for future collaborations?
It was a true honor helping to launch the South Florida Pride Collective. It's such an amazing group of people. Being new here myself, I got to meet some very incredible leaders within the community. Behind the scenes, the organizations have been working together and helping one another for many years. But the pandemic gave us an outlet to really come together visibly for our community to ensure that everyone still got to celebrate Pride. It was important for all of us, and coming together definitely helped bring that sense of community. We will remain very in close contact. We still do help each other moving forward, and we do plan on curating future events as the collective, whether or not they're virtual or once we return to some normalcy, we get some boots on the ground and actually do some fun live events.
Yeah, I did appreciate that after the actual main event that you did activate it again for some happy hours. And so there were smaller events that really carried through and carried the message and the collective forward. So that was great.
Yeah, and we'll continue doing that. We were honored to be able to raise about $20,000 for COVID relief in our community.
Wow, that's excellent. Congratulations on that. That's not a small feat at this moment.
Thank you.
So now let's talk about your customers, your event attendees, your business partners. What feedback have you received, and are there new expectations, any new expectations from them? Let's start with, actually we'll keep it with you, Rich.
Majority, it was a lot of outpouring of community disappointment with the canceling of Pride. As I said before, many people look forward to this time as being a place where they can feel that large scale sense of community and where they can truly be themselves. Expectation wise, most people are just hoping and praying that we can actually still hold these large scale events that are coming up. Moving forward, we're trying to work. We recently released a survey for Pride asking what the community wanted to see, whether it was virtually, on the ground, things like that. And we want to start forming those programming into more year-round events, opening up to more arts and cultural programming, and actually pulling in members of the community who may not feel like they want to do a large festival. They might want to do a fashion show or a social justice panel or things like that. So those are things that we're really looking forward to curating.
Excellent. How about you, Janae?
From what I've seen from attendees and my conversations with DJ Dimples, our audience is just really wanting to be able to come back and party and have that same type of atmosphere. You know, similar to what Rich said, like they just want to be able to come and make sure that it's safe. And then also too, this year we wanted to expand some of our programming to include more panels about women empowerment, doing some community giveaways and doing some give backs. We partner with another organization, the Smile Trust, which is headed by lesbian queer founders. And so that was a part of our programming, and we're hoping that that is something that we can continue in the future, and our audience was open to it. But right now they just want to be able to party the way they were able to before. And like I said before, we just don't know what that will look like. But for them, it hasn't been like, oh, we're afraid to come or we don't want to come. It's more so like, give us the green light and we're there.
Yeah, there's a lot of pent-up demand for sure. Especially for a community that's used to being together.
Yes.
So, and Grace, have you had any, feedback from your customers and your audience?
Yes. Oh, yes. We've had a lot of noise, just like Jenny. People want to get together. They want a safe space where they can gather. Aqua Girl, as you mentioned, is our largest event where everybody looks, forward to coming. People travel. We have to guarantee 100+ rooms. It's known to be our signature event, but people till the last minute, is it happening? When is it being rescheduled? When is it going to be? And we hesitated to send a cancellation because, like everyone, we were waiting to see if the fall was going to be safe. If we were waiting a couple more months, now it's so unknown. Like Steve said, this can go on and drag to 2021 unless something really happens and changes. So yes, a lot of our people, a lot of our community have reached out, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that the Aqua Foundation for Women is not just a party on the beach. It's more than that. It's a serious transgender conference that we put together every year. It's also a scholarship program with a leadership component, of a conference as well. And we do so many things. We just awarded 3 local county commissioners at our Ally Awards. So we do so much more. But yes, there's always that party, people want to get together. They want to feel like a part of something, and that's missed, but there's so little that we can do. I mean, like Rich said, it breaks my heart because we want to get together. We need to get together as a society, as a community, but it's been really hard.
So you can definitely see that. John, tell us some of the feedback that you've heard.
Well, we have a kind of a dual role in our organization of B2B and B2C, but talking on the B2C side, after hearing from Grace and Janae, there is definitely pent-up demand to get out there and go to LGBT events and to travel and explore the world again. We just completed a survey with about 15,000 members of the LGBT community, asking them of their interest of travel before December 31st of this year. So it's very short term. But it was about a 66% responded with the very likely to travel before the end of the year. So short of a vaccine, people are going to get back out traveling. They're just going to have to take different measures than they would have in the past. But as long as, events and businesses, hotels, whatever, are providing that safety and security of sanitizing their businesses, I think our community is very strong to get out there and travel. We did this in comparison with US Travel, which is a mainstream travel organization for the United States. And it was significantly higher on the LGBT responses for desires to travel again and go on cruises, go to LGBT events, pride events. It was all, any type of event, the LGBT community was significantly higher. So, and that definitely supports the very well-known, research projects that people in our community do tend to travel more frequently than the non-LGBT community. And that's for various reasons. But and Miami is always in the top 5 destinations searched on our website. So I think people are ready to get back to Miami and have some fun and go out to eat and go to all the events you have. I think people are really, really ready.
And we're ready for them for sure. So, Steve, have you heard any feedback from your customers in your audience?
much, I echo what everyone has said. We're putting some amazing, our large
Having some sound issues.
point online. Oops. Let me do this.
Okay.
It helps. Taking everything online, what we've experienced and certainly what we've had our membership communicate back to us is their need to see each other, their need to be able to talk about what's going on, how this is impacting them, how they're pivoting to address the market needs, but more or less being able to see someone and listen to their story and share. And so we've been really surprised and blessed in a way that our membership has responded to going online and then sharing in a new way, you know, how they see, how they've pivoted, how they see themselves, and how they're trying to resolve this crisis for their own business. So I think, you know, from our perspective, our virtual programming is going to stay in place. Now, we're not going to be doing all of it when we return to normal, but certainly there'll be some aspects that we found to really resonate with a certain portion of our membership that I think is really useful and resonates. So if there's anything positive that's come of this, it's our feeling that we've been able to meet those personal needs of our small business members.
Excellent, excellent. So, okay, I think the final question I have is, I wanted to talk about, like, clearly each of us wish we had a lineup of those platinum partners that would write checks. But in addition to that, how can organizations like the GMCV, by means of partnerships and collaborations, assist in the rollout of your events in the future? Let's start with Rich on this one.
I mean, coming off of joining the Pride Collective, it's one of those things where I think it's a time that we all need to start coming together, all the organizations, and really helping to promote each other, really coming together as a community, and ensuring that none of us fail, that we all come out of this stronger than we ever have before. Helping to promote events, whether they're virtual, on the ground, helping to just broadcast that these organizations need help.
Well, we're definitely here to help, and we definitely want to help. So, Janae, why don't you tell us about some of that collaborations or partnerships?
That is so key, especially for an event like Sweet Heat to continue to grow. And, you know, historically, we've seen that there's been some division within the LGBTQ community between the Black and white or non-Black communities. And I think this year, and I was so happy when I reached out to Dan and Rich, how welcoming you guys were and how open you were to work with Sweet Heat, and how much you thought that DJ Dimples and what she was doing was, you know, so amazing, and was so happy. And I think we need more of that type of collaboration, especially for, you know, you have within the community, there are subsets of the community. And to have Sweet Heat be one of the largest in the country gatherings of Black lesbian women who are not only just partying, but they're doing health and wellness, yoga, they're vendors for small businesses. Like I said, giving back to the community, feeding the homeless, women empowerment. There's so much that goes on within that organization that I think sometimes people don't know, because it's just, you know, it's a group within a group, and it's, you know, it was kind of off from everyone else, or people didn't, you know, inquire to see. So I think the willingness to want to collaborate and say, hey, what are you guys doing over there? I see, you know, you're my sister, you're my brother, let's work together, we're in this fight together. And I think that helps us to amplify the message of Sweet Heat, which DJ Dimples, and she's on the line, so I'm so happy that she was able to join us last minute. Hey, but she does this event in different markets. She does it in Atlanta and Charlotte and New York. And I think that for her to be able to she's from Miami, born and raised, and for her to, this year, she wanted to reach out to more organizations, to the city of Miami Beach and Miami-Dade County, to let them know, like, hey, I've been doing this for, you know, almost 20 years she's been doing this. and she didn't have that support. And I think sometimes it felt like it was invisible. It's just or us against them. And I think that if we can kind of step outside of our boxes to help each other, we can get, you know, further along, because we're all in this together.
Absolutely. And from the respect of destination promotion, it is the diversity within the events itself that makes it special. You know, if we are always just promoting the same type of event, it's like, well, that's all they have to offer. When actually in Miami, we have so many different types of events that we can offer. So very happy to collaborate and partner with you, Danae. So Grace, talk to us about some partnerships and collaborations and ideas that you have.
Absolutely, Dan. I feel strongly about having collaborations as part of your business plan. It's a priority. It should be a priority for everyone in order to be successful during a time of crisis, but always collaboration always works. We should come together as a community. We should help each other. I know that we take pride in offering our social media of a network of more than 25,000 people. Anytime you have something that you need us to look at, to advertise, to promote for you, if it makes sense, especially for the nonprofits, let us know. We're willing to do it. We're in partnership with all of you. And I think that collaboration is the key. It really, really is. And I would love to do more, especially with all of you on the panel and everyone here. We have over 92 attendees. That's amazing. Congratulations, Dan. So let's do it. We need to work together in order to stay together, and also, more importantly, to stay sustainable.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm definitely on board for that. And on the business side, Steve, what do you see with regards to collaborations and partnerships?
You know, one of our greatest strengths is we are part of the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. We are one of 51 affiliates. And as a result of that, it has really focused a lot of our attention on reaching out to LGBT-owned businesses and getting them into the certification pipeline. If you are 51% LGBT-owned, you can be certified as a minority business, and opens up a huge number of opportunities to deal in the procurement area with, say, the large Fortune 200 companies that recognize LGBT minority-owned businesses as a procurement category. So we have really partnered with our national chamber to educate and connect these businesses with the opportunities that exist nationally through the procurement pipelines. So, you know, just further resonating on that message of collaboration can exponentially increase your reach. We've seen that through the increase in the number of businesses who have become certified through our program. So I cannot emphasize enough, collaborate, find new partners to help you in your business. And certainly within the nonprofit world, I think, to Grace's point, we need to work more closely together where we have synergy and look for opportunities where we can be better at what we do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And let's close this question out with Don and tell us about the travel industry and some collaborations and partnerships there.
I think, in our industry, partnerships are really key. And we have a very diverse board and staff at IGLT, and that would be probably my biggest recommendation, is that you ensure you're working with a diverse staff and board, because you want to get those different viewpoints from, whether it's locally, nationally, regionally, or globally. But we do, I think, a very good job of doing partnerships around the world. Most of everything we've been doing during COVID is for free, which is fine. We'll make it. And if we can help our members in this time of crisis, if you will, it'll come back to us. And our membership is staying with us right now. And, LGBT events right now don't have the funds to be promoting their events. So, we're really trying to step up and help LGBT events all over the world that are trying to do online activities and try to get donations through online activities. So that's been our focus, and I agree with Grace. We all have to work together within, we do have so many different segments within the LGBTQ community, but we're all one big family. So we have to support each other. And I feel like that's really, really important.
Absolutely, I echo that feeling. So, so we are running a little late. So I did want to introduce, thank you all the panelists. We've shared some great information. Let me bring John Beadle, President of Associated Productions, to say a few words, and then we'll close it out. John?
I've asked him to unmute, but he's still muted. John, are you there? There we go.
Was that better?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Beautiful.
All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. Associated Printing Productions, we are a leader within the printing industry, but we're far more than that. We are also an LGBT certified business enterprise. Thank you, Steve. You know, one thing I'm listening to everybody on the panel, and it's definitely about the community involvement. It's about coming together. There was nobody that was exempt from this pandemic. And if we all look back in February, our whole worlds were turned upside down. But there's a lot of positive energy if you listen to it just from the panel, and it's about working together. We provide commercial offset and digital printing. We do signage, packaging, promotional materials, etc., fulfillment. But we decided that we had to do something different. And we know, you know, it was a CEO of one of our largest clients that said to me that, John, back in January, if I handed you my business card, you'd take it right away and say thank you. But then if I tell you today and I hand you my business card, he says, I bet you pause. And it really resonated with us. And we realized we have to do something, at least to change what we produce, the printing materials and stuff. So we developed a brand new technology called antimicrobial. It's the APPI antimicrobial coating. And these are coatings that we can put on your piece, and it's going to protect your printed materials from transferring these dangerous microbes and things. It keeps us safe so that somebody can hand that business card or a brochure or anything like that in your hotels or your businesses, whatever, that you don't have to worry about it. And what we found is a lot of our clients really, not only do they want to do that, they want to make sure it's safe, but they want their guests. So if somebody's coming to a hotel or whatever, they need to know that the hotel has been proactive, the cruise line, whatever. A lot of our biggest clients are really pushing this, and they jumped on this. Once we made the announcement, it has gone international. It is unbelievable, the response. But at the end of the day, you know, I support a lot of LGBT organizations. This is my heart, and I want to make sure that our organizations are also taken care of. I heard somebody else, I think it was Rich, said, you know, it's about coming together as that community to help each other. So we definitely want to help opening your business with signage and things like that, you know, the floor signage, you know, just signage about social distancing and things like that. We've really learned a lot about this, and we are, you know, I hate to say experts, but we are very well versed in this, and we definitely will come to your business and help you get your business set up so that you can open and have proper distancing, have social distancing, have the signage, whatever, or anything. It's amazing what we've learned from this, and we want to project that to you and help you open your business as well. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, John, and thank you so much for your support. So I think we've run out of time for the Q&A, but we will get all those questions answered that we received and send them out to you with the recording and the survey. And I think that is a wrap. But before I say goodbye, I wanted to leave you with one final word. Well, it's actually three words, and that's just wear it. You know, special thanks goes out to Herb Sosa, a Unity Coalition, Coalición Unida, for the rollout of this awareness campaign. There on the left, you see GMCBV's President and CEO, Mr. William Talbert III. Not everyone is featured here, but Mr. Talbert is joined by dozens of members of the community, including some of you on the Zoom meeting today. Proceeds benefit UCCU's Micro Emergency Fund for LGBTQ hospitality workers impacted by the pandemic.
And
with
Dan, I'm the
Yes.
only one wearing sunglasses too. The only one.
He looks cool.
Yeah, because they suit you, Mr. Talbert.
Is that a voice from God above? Where did that come from?
There you go. No, part of the team.
Hey, Bill.
So,
Hi, John.
So with that, we are done. Thank you to our guests, and we value your insight, and thank you to everyone who joined us. And I wish you all a great day. Thanks again.
Thank you, Dan.